Mm. It's nice to have a moment to go through the screen before services start.
Oh.
And just a reminder to everyone joining, if this is your first time joining us, we encourage you to put your screen on gallery view so that you might see all of the amazing faces joining us tonight.
There's a line outside the sanctuary door, it looks like. Come on in, everyone. Take a seat. We'll begin in a moment.
Looks like we have some very young members joining solo tonight.
Members of the
We all know
choir,
who's
maybe.
in charge, right?
I think younger.
Can we begin with any Zoom and then give some instruction?
Well, I had an idea because I know for the last couple of weeks we did Zoom Gali Gali, but I had a thought. This is it.
Great.
Let's
begin.
Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Die, die, enu. Die, die, enu. Die, die, enu. Die, enu, die, enu. A little fun.
Hi, everyone. If you can give me a wave or a thumbs up if you can hear me. My microphone is going in and out. Oh, that's great to see. It is great to see all of you. For those of you who are new to our TBE online Shabbat community, it's great to see you. It's ideal if you put Zoom in gallery so that we can see each other. And then you will notice that you're muted, but there are times in the service where we invite you to express someone you're thinking of, an individual's name, for Mishaberach and Kaddish. And for that, there's an icon on the screen that is chat. And at that time, we invite you to type those names into the Zoom room. The challenges of Zoom are twofold right now. One is that more than one person can't speak at once, which means we can't have congregational singing, which is challenging because our community just appreciates and loves congregational singing. So what we invite you to do is to sing at home, even though you'll only be able to hear one voice. And then sometimes if you can clap or tap your chest or mouth the words so that we can see you participating, it just fills up our virtual room with the beauty of TBE, even though we're in living rooms and kitchens and basements, in my case, throughout our area. The other challenge of Zoom recently is what we've learned is that unfortunately, while Zoom has brought communities all over the world together, there are some people in the world trying to destroy that ability to congregate by entering a room uninvited and playing distracting videos behind them and trying to disrupt what's taking place in the Zoom room. And there's actually a name for it now called a Zoom bombing, which is a terrible word for a terrible thing. A number of synagogues in the Boston area have experienced this. And so we've taken every precaution, including the fact that you couldn't just push a button to enter the Zoom room tonight. You had to fill out a brief form, and then we had someone from the temple actually let you in, and we're watching who enters the room as we would in our own temple building. But if for some reason we need to adjourn and leave the room, I just want you to know that it's not your computer. It's that suddenly we had to end our Shabbat service. But it shouldn't happen. I'm really thankful for our IT team, all of the help we've had. And I'm just so glad it's Shabbat and welcoming Shabbat with all of you. So if I can see you give me a little bit of a heart tap. Can you hear me? You can hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good. I'm getting, my internet is going in and out. Rabbi Sherman, I know we're going to try something new this week because we can't speak at the same time with breakout rooms. Can you explain?
Sure. So in order to greet shalom to our community and our neighbors up, down, and sideways, we thought that we would give us an opportunity to greet shalom with our voices. So we're going to split you up into breakout rooms. And what I need you to do is accept the invitation. If you'd like to join a breakout room, there'll be about 7 or 8 folks in your room. And you're going to have to do one other thing, and that's unmute yourself, which you'll be able to do in that room. I invite you to wish each other Shabbat Shalom, and then I'm going to pull you back in. You don't have to worry about getting lost in internet space. We will pull you back in. So please accept this invitation.
Maybe you can share where you're sitting as well.
Yes. Okay. Great. Just give me 1 second. There'll be 8 or 9 participants in each room. Have fun. Say Shabbat Shalom. Is it working?
Not yet, Rabbi.
Not yet.
You're getting close.
Okay. We might have to move on, Rabbi.
Maybe this experiment will wait 1 week, Rabbi Sherman.
It's saying they're not started, but I'm clicking open all rooms, so maybe it's too many folks.
What a great problem to
If
have.
that's the case.
No, wait. No. Well, wait a sec. Are you guys getting invitations? You are now. I don't think it's working.
Rabbi Sherman, I think we should move to Plan B.
Well,
I'm closing the rooms.
Next time. Nice try. Thank you.
We might need to wait 30 seconds. Maybe we can sing a song.
how about
I
if we go to the, how about if we sing some nigunim, some not Dayenu?
I think
got it.
That sounds good.
Ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 hallelujah 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 hallelujah. And one more thank you to Cantor Zell for adding this to our repertoire. Ya la 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 ya 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 la 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 la
So Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's good to see all of you. Let's wave to the people around us, below us, to the sides. It's great to see and scroll through all of you as we welcome Shabbat together. Once again, we'll open the chat at Mishaberach and Kaddish. Otherwise, we have you muted because on Zoom, only one voice can be heard at once. And then at the very end of the service, we'll open up everyone's voice to that cacophony of Temple Beth Elohim Shabbat sounds. But until then, we hope you'll join with us at home. And it's just great to see all of you. So let's begin by listening to Cantor Zell sing Shalom Aleichem. If the words are familiar, once again, join with us at home. We haven't placed the words on the screen because at a time of isolation, we think it's more important that we see one another, our Temple Beth Elohim community. More than the words, we need to see each other's faces. And then there will be moments when we provide the Shabbat liturgy on the screen as well. So Cantor Zell, let's begin. Shalom Aleichem, we welcome Shabbat.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Barchuni.
Barchuni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Finally, Tzeitchem.
Tzeitchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
So this week was meant to be a TGIS Shabbat service on our calendar, which means that it would have been planned as a brief service, multi-generational, with a story, with accompaniment by our teen tefillah band. I see many of you on tonight with your instruments, so thank you for lending your sound to our universe. And our TGIS is also a little bit more casual. We enjoy expressing ourselves through hand motions, so we're going to invite our youth choir to join us, and also for you to join us in that way at home as well. And finally, we have many of our Jelly Junior youth families with us this evening, as we typically have large youth group events after services, and we are going to have a youth group event after services this evening as we join together on Zoom with our youth. So we welcome all of you and are so happy to be joined together to bring in Shabbat as a large multi-generational community this evening. So let us light our Shabbat candles. If you have yours at home with you, let's join together.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Well, as Rabbi Sapphire said, tonight was meant to be TGIS, and one of the favorite prayers of TGIS is roll into dark. And with these words, we give thanks for the miracle of creation, rolling light into darkness and darkness into light. And today we invited the children's choir to share the actions that accompany this prayer. And I think you'll see them sprinkled throughout the gallery. But it occurred to me in these actions where we roll away darkness into light, that there's a beautiful concept in that moment when we lift our hands for day, that we actually create an L. And that could be for light or love. And that seems so appropriate for this moment. So in Temple Beth Elohim fashion, if you can follow Cantor Zell or choir members and see them, let's all join together. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. And we continue with the Hebrew. Oriyom balayla, olel or mipne choshech, olel or mipne choshech, choshech mipne or. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night.
So it's been a busy week filled with news and the stresses and anxieties of the current day. And now we settle our minds and embrace Shabbat, a day of separation from these events, a day of an embrace of the holy, an embrace of the soul, an embrace of family and friends and community. And so with that in mind, we continue with the words of Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kivud Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
So just the fact that we meet for Shabbat on Zoom means we meet in extraordinary times. And so we would like to add a prayer during this time when we meet on Shabbat. And so Rabbi Sherman's going to place it. And if you'll join with us, although we will not be able to hear each other's voices because of Zoom, at least you'll be able to participate with us in this prayer, a prayer of hope. Let's read together. We are frightened, God, worried for our loved ones, worried for our world, helpless and confused. We turn to you, seeking comfort, faith, and hope. Teach us, God, to turn our panic into patience and our fear into acts of kindness and support. Our strong must watch out for our weak. Our young must take care of our old. Help each one of us to do our part to halt the spread of this virus. Send strength and courage to the doctors and nurses in the front lines of this battle. Fortify them with the full force of their healing powers. Send wisdom and insight to the scientists working day and night across the world to discover healing. Bless their efforts, God. Fill our leaders with the wisdom and the courage to choose wisely and act quickly. Help us, God, to see that we are one world, one people who will rise above this pandemic together. Send us health, God. Watch over us. Grace us with your love. Bless us with your healing light. Hear us, God. Heal us, God. And we all say, Amen. Let's join together.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hoshkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hoshkivenu, Yishalom. Icha Amidenu, Shomreinu L'chaim. Ufros Aleinu, Sukkot Shlomecha. Hoshkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Hoshkivenu, Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
And so if you're able to rise, I invite you to rise at this time as we continue with Tefillah, a time for independent prayer.
Adonai, sifatai tiftach, ufi yagid tilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise.
We ask that the one who makes peace in the high heavens make peace for all of us and for all who dwell on this earth. Prayer for peace. Ose shalom b'imrama. Ose shalom b'imrama. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Alleluia. All right, junior choir and Tefillah band, here we go. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. Oh, say shalom.
May peace descend on us, on all Israel, and all the world. And it's at this time we think of those who are in need of peace and healing, individuals confronting the challenges of our day. And if the technology works, we're going to open the chat room at this time so that people can type the names of individuals they're thinking of, people in need of healing of body, of mind, of soul. And we especially think of all of those confronting the COVID-19 virus that continues to affect people in our community and far beyond. If you touch the icon that says chat, you'll be able to read the names that are being posted and continue to come in from our community.
Mikor habracha imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us sing. Amen. Ishe Beirach Imotenu Mikor habracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us sing. Amen.
And it's at this time we continue with Shehechianu. And even though many of us are isolated in homes, we still recognize that we're grateful for many moments that have occurred throughout the past week, including some moments that people love to share with others. And so in this medium, it's a little different, but we'd love you to raise your hand if you've shared a birthday during the past week. I see a few. How about an anniversary? We're getting towards, wedding season a little bit. I know that we have new grandparents out there, the gift of a child, and rabbis or cantors. Any
Yeah,
other moments to add?
yes.
Can I share?
Yeah, go ahead, Jody. Cantor Justin.
Both my daughters' birthdays this week. Today is Jessica's birthday, and she should be arriving in the Berkshires, having just left Brooklyn. And for that, I am hugely grateful.
So for people who were able to welcome family members home, we give thanks. Rabbi Sapphire?
Yes, I would love to say that we continue to be so proud of all of our B'nai Mitzvah students who exhibit such resilience in this time. Still studying, some of them hanging out to plan creative B'nai Mitzvah in the months to come. But tomorrow on Shabbat, we have our first ever Zoom B'nai Mitzvah student who will be reading Torah with us online. So Mazel Tov to Sam Matloff.
I just want to acknowledge there are a lot of new things. If we can see you, you can give a heart tap or a hand up if you have about completed a book this week. That's a gift for many of us. Or listened to a new podcast or found a great television show to binge. Or found a new hobby. Or return to an old one that you haven't been able to partake in for a very long time. Or maybe even better, you called someone on the phone who you haven't spoken to in a very long time. There are moments to be grateful for, even in these difficult times. And so let's join together with the words of Shehechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Amen.
So can you hear me, Cantor?
Absolutely.
Ah, great. Sometimes I feel like I'm in the old building where I used to start every sermon with, "Can you hear me? Is the sound system working?" So I'm glad you can hear me. As many of you know, we don't have family services at TBE because those were kind of code word for the once a month service that children were invited to attend. At TBE, our children come each week. We are multi-generational. But once a month, we have a TGIS service where the sermon is meant to be multi-generational and accessible for all. And it's typically a story. So I would like to share a story this evening, which is appropriate for all, but it's an important one because it actually explains why the ancient temple was built on a specific spot in the world. So if our technology works, Rabbi Sherman, can you actually show us a picture of the temple? Got it. That is a beautiful temple, perhaps my favorite, Rabbi Sherman, but I'm talking about the ancient temple here, the one in the Torah. Do we have one of those? Wow, thank you, Rabbi Sherman. Modern technology. The ancient temple in Jerusalem, the one that our ancestors traveled to thousands of years ago. The one we learn about in our Torah portion called Sav, the word which is actually similar to mitzvah, the place where people would go to do mitzvot, or holy things. And so, Rabbi Sherman, if we can zoom out a bit so I can see where that temple stood. Aha, Jerusalem, a picture that I actually took a few weeks ago while on a temple trip to Israel, just where the temple once stood. So let's take that down, because I'd like to share a story about why the temple stood in that place. And here we go. A long, long time ago, there were two brothers, and each one of them lived on a farm. Now, one of the brothers was married and had a really large family, and the other brother was single, and he actually lived all alone. And both of the brothers lived on opposite sides of a mountain. Well, one night during harvest time, the single brother woke up in the middle of the night, and he thought, how can I sleep? My brother has 6 kids, and I live alone. I should bring him some of my fruits and vegetables. And so in the middle of the night, the brother actually put on his shoes, got out of bed, and went to his shed and gathered his fruits and vegetables, put them in a bag, and climbed up the hill to bring them over to his brother's barn. Meanwhile, his brother, the one with all of the kids, also couldn't sleep. And so he too woke up in the middle of the night. And he thought, how can I sleep? My brother lives alone. And so I should surprise him and bring him fruits and vegetables. And so he too arose in the middle of the night, and he put on his shoes and entered his shed and pulled out his bag and put in the fruits and vegetables and climbed up the hill and brought produce to his brother's barn. Well, you can imagine what happens when the next day came. Each brother went to his shed to get fruit for breakfast and noticed something really strange. There was the same amount of fruit in his shed, despite bringing fruits and vegetables to his brother. Wait a minute, each one thought. How could that be? I just brought fruit to my brother. Something must have happened. So the next night, what did they do? Well, each one woke up and did the very same thing. They put on their shoes and climbed up the hill and brought fruit to their brother's barn. And so it went night after night, waking up, putting on their shoes, going to the barn, putting the fruit in the bag, delivering the fruit, only to find that the next morning there was the same amount of fruit in the barn. Until one night, it finally happened. Each brother went to bring fruit and vegetables to his brother, marched up the hill, and suddenly what happens? They bumped into each other, and they realized what they had been doing all along. And it was then, knowing that each one was trying to help the other, that they embraced. They gave each other a big hug and thanked each other for thinking of them. And according to tradition, it's in that spot that the temple was built, to remind us that even when things are difficult, we need to reach out to our brothers and sisters and our neighbors and our friends, because by doing so, each one of us will benefit, because we're all in this together, whether we're alone or in big families. We all need one another. And so this week, I want to invite everyone to give, no matter how many fruits or vegetables or toilet paper you may have, or how many people are in your home. We can't control a lot of things these days, but we can control how many mitzvahs we actually perform to build this holy place, this temple, Beth Elohim. And so on our webpage, you will see lots of mitzvot to perform. You can deliver food like the brothers to the Wellesley Food Pantry and Family Table. Or you can do something very traditional before Passover, and that's actually clean your home. But in this case, we hope that you'll take some of the extra clothing and some of the extra toys and bring them to Cradles to Crayon that they are still collecting in Boston. Or there are mitzvahs which don't even require you to leave your home. And those are actually my favorite mitzvahs at this time this year, especially this year. Things you can do without even going outside, like making cards for children. And you'll see an organization collecting them on our website under Tikkun Olam. Or writing a thank you note to a teacher. I know they would appreciate that. Many of our teachers are working hard trying to instruct online. Or another activity that you'll see on the website is making cards for older adults who, like one of the brothers, may live alone and would really appreciate a special delivery of a card, especially one that's homemade. Here at the temple, we know we can help, especially during these times. After all, that's what it means to have a temple, a continual reminder to treat each other with love. Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos.
Shabbat Shalom and Yasher Koach. Rabbi Sissenwein asked if I would share this interpretation of a piece that speaks to his message. And so I offer this to you. In inanili nili וכשאני לעצמי מעני אם אינני לי וכשאני לעצמי מעני We are love, we are one, we are how we treat each other when the day is done. We are peace, we are war, we are how we treat each other and nothing more. To be humble, to be kind, it is a giving of the peace in your mind. To a stranger, to a friend, to give in such a way that has no end. We are love, we are one, we are how we treat each other when the day is done. We are peace, we are war, we are how we treat each other and nothing more. We are love, we are one, we are one, we are how we treat each other when the day is done. We are peace, we are war, we are war, we are how we treat each other and nothing more. We are how we treat each other and nothing more. We are how we treat each other.
Thank you, Cantor Zell. Not only did it give me an opportunity to reflect on the message, but it also gave me an opportunity to scroll through the pictures and see families that are together through the vehicle of Zoom, even if they're in different places, people sitting in their living rooms or dining rooms or dens that I miss seeing in our sanctuary, but it's great to see you here. So it's just good to be together. At this time, we're going to open the chat room one more time for Words of Mourners Kaddish, our prayer of remembrance. As you know, this is the time we think of those who helped lead us to this day but are no longer physically present on this earth. And we especially call to mind those relatives and members of our community who have passed away in the past 30 days. Stephen Alpert and Lorraine Battler and Sarita Blau, Maxine Blaustein and Jean Cameron and Mark Gerstenfeld, Bennett Heffron, Sumner Lavine, Miriam Schwab, and Lois Strom. And we also read the name of Ellen Goldberg, who passed away at this season, and her husband Norman asked us to read that name, and Benjamin Mirsky, father of Erwin Mirsky. And so many of you are observing Yahrzeit this week. And so if you're observing a Yahrzeit or are currently within the period of mourning, meaning if you've lost an immediate family member during the past 30 days or a parent during the past 11 months, we invite you to type their names into the chat room at this time. I'm hoping it works. Is the chat room working, Rabbi? Good. And so if the mourners in our midst, we're going to have them be the only ones that rise so that we can acknowledge them in terms of seeing them in the Zoom call. So if you're observing a Yahrzeit or currently within mourning, if you would please rise, and we're going to place the words of Kaddish on the screen. And that way we as a community can recognize you as mourners right now. Thanks, Rabbi. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabah, bi'amad divrei chirutei, bi'amlich malchutei b'chayachon u'yomechon, u'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, b'galav izman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabah morach le'olam olamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'krusha b'richu. Le'elam min kol berchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechamata. Ta'amiran mi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Together everyone, oseh shalom b'mromav. V'yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael.
Rabbi Sapphire, announcements? Some
Yes.
important ones. I hope people can stay with us for a little bit.
Yes, please do. So this is such an important place to share what is going on in our community. I want to start first by saying that we will be hosting a community forum on Monday night at 7 o'clock via Zoom, so that all of you will be able to hear from your community leaders, clergy, staff, board members, to understand what all we are doing as a TBE community at this time. Followed by that, we will begin some more Passover prep, Monday night music of Passover at 7:30. I should also say that Sunday night, we will have a Passover prep program, the meaning of Passover. So 2 Passover prep programs, Sunday and Monday nights. Our TBE Haggadah, thanks to the design, amazingness of Cantor Zell will come out to our community early next week as well. You all probably know, prepping for Seder this week, first night is Wednesday night. We will be hosting a TBE Zoom congregational Seder at 6 p.m., which follows a Yaldenu Young Families Seder experience at 4:30. On our first day of Passover, on Thursday, we will host a 10 a.m. festival morning service. We hope you will join us for that as well. And thank you to our TBE hosts who will be hosting some of us on second night Seder on Thursday night as well. So I want to express gratitude to all of you who are healthcare providers and essential workers in our community. You may have seen that there is a national movement taking place right now that is called #ClapBecauseWeCare. And the Boston community will be taking part in this celebration of our essential workers at 7 p.m. tonight. So just in 9 minutes from now, we're actually going to ask you after Kiddush, so hang with us, to take your computers or your devices and go outside of your house if you can with us, or open up a door or a window, as the entirety of Boston is going to be clapping and cheering and honoring our essential workers. So we're going to hang together after 7 o'clock. And I want to say one more thing, which is that while we are heading outside to celebrate our essential workers, I am going to be posting a link in the chat that we just used. This link is going to take you to a form to sign up for a small community conversation. So we have, as a caring community, been making phone calls to reach out to one another. And our next step is going to be to create small groups for us to join together in community conversation at this difficult time. As we can bridge our shared but distant experiences, we hope we can connect a little bit more, learn more about one another, and eventually support each other even more. So please follow that link tonight. You'll also see it in our following e-blasts this week.
And I have a quick announcement, an important one before Kiddush. But first, Torah study is at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning with Rabbi Sherman. Sunday, we have a cool experience. It's being taught by one of our teachers in Haifa. Rabbi Gabi Dagan from Ohel Avraham, our sister congregation, is teaching a Moroccan cooking class at 1 o'clock Boston time, 8 p.m. Haifa time. There's also T-Bell classical music and noontime coffee with the temple and Susan, a lot taking place. But before we say Kiddush, I have a very important rabbinic declaration for everyone, which I don't give many rabbinic declarations, but these are important times. So traditionally, it's called a heter, which literally means a declaration of rabbinic permission. And tonight, I want to officially, like drum roll please, call a heter, a grant of permission for a very mediocre Seder this coming week. So let me explain, because my friend Rabbi Sue Fendrick told me this week, and I thought it was fantastic. Here's the grant of permission. You do not need to cook 17 dishes this week that remind you of all the family members who are not gathering around your Seder table. You do not need to set up a multimedia, multi-layered presentation on Zoom and spend countless hours preparing the Haggadah. We are living through a pandemic. This is not the time to add stress to your life. And so if you want to cook a fancy meal for Passover, great. But this is a heter to say you can cook a modest one too. Light the candles, bless the wine, eat the symbols, talk about freedom and being a Jew, be energized or just be tired. Do things you never did before, because what an opportunity we have to have a really intimate Seder. And so then after Seder this year, go to sleep knowing that you have completely fulfilled your obligation. Dayenu, this is more than enough.
Amen.
So I really hope you can participate with us for Passover prep. Have a great time with us from 6 to 6:45. We're going to have a brief Seder, 45 minutes, close the Seder, say goodbye, and then people will eat independently, I know. But I'm looking forward to this week, our Festival of Freedom. So with that, let's raise our glasses for Kiddush. Once again, I invite a cantor whose voice is much better than mine to lead us in these words.
Well, I would just like to say, this is not juice. Let's join together.
Neither is mine, Cantor.
And you've got the 6 ounce. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotov v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu. Zikaron למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תחילן מקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, יותנו קידשת, מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך, ואהבה וברצון, הנחתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת.
L'chaim.
Amen.
So this is what I would love us to do. Cantor Suffren, did you actually make a challah this week?
You know, I did not make a challah because I have one upstairs in the freezer. So I don't have it.
Perfect. Oh, Ella, Sapphire, and Oren come through. So this is what I'd like us to do. At 6:58, we are going to make motzi. And then if Rabbi Sherman reappears, oh, there he is with the challah. If you can then unmute us so we can do our crazy cacophony of Shabbat Shaloms as a community. And then if you have a laptop that you're not afraid of dropping, we invite you to bring it after motzi outside or near your window, so we as a community can thank the medical workers and those on the front lines who are truly risking their lives to save lives. And that is an extraordinary, extraordinary mitzvah, and we are incredibly grateful. So let us make motzi, open up the room to Shabbat Shaloms and waves and greetings, and then we'll applaud our workers. Rabbi Sherman, will you lead us?
Sure. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen.
Amen.
Open the room to voices.
Let's do it.